right, Scott, maybe you can tell us a little bit about a couple of your photos on here. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Well, this one is called Low Tide Moonset. Actually, Mark Hancock of the Point Arena Lightkeepers recommended that I come and shoot the full moon. And I was over on the other side of the, by where the gazebo was, and at about 5 in the morning, the light that is the lights that are on the lighthouse went off, and suddenly I have a full moon and an absolutely dark lighthouse in front of me. Could not figure out how to do the exposure. I was very disappointed. So I walked around to this spot, which is right at the main gate to Point Arena Lighthouse, and which is where I've shot a lot of my photos of the lighthouse. And the moon was just going down and the sun was just coming up, and I caught this with the light going off, and it looks pretty good in color, but it really looks spectacular in black and white.
Yeah, I like the mood of that.
Yeah, you can see the rocks, and for me, if you look at my stuff, you'll find I'm really into the rocks. That's my deal. I love
That
those.
was low tide, so you got a lot of the
Yeah, with
formations.
low tide, I got that's about as low as the tide gets there. So.
Yeah. How about a couple from the high country, Scott?
Well, this one here, Half Dome, of course, this is sort of a tribute to Ansel Adams. This is the kind of photograph he would take. I was up in Glacier Point, and these clouds were coming in front of Bernal and Nevada Falls, which of course can be viewed from Glacier Point if you look to the south. And I couldn't get a shot of the falls, but I thought, well, maybe the clouds are going over by Half Dome, and so I ran, literally, up to the main viewing point overlooking the valley, and leaned on the shutter and shot off about 30 frames. And this was the only one of the 30 where you could actually see Half Dome. I really like it because, of course, Ansel's shot monolith from right here, and then it kind of looks like the clouds themselves are issuing from the face of Half Dome.
That's great, Scott. Now about that,
This
the lonely
photo
one.
over here is from the ancient bristlecone pine forest, which is in the White Mountains. It's just to the east of Big Pine. And June and I were there and took a hike on the Methuselah Trail, which is a 4-mile trail that goes through these trees. Now, these trees are 3,500, often 3,500 to 4,000 years old. I don't know how old this one was, but this is one of the few trees there where it's on the edge of the bristlecone pine forest, and it stands by itself. Mostly they're packed together. And so I snapped this one and forgot about it. And when I was starting to start up my photography business, I went and reviewed all of my previous photos and saw this and realized it would make a really terrific black and white photo. And, the sky is just spectacular. And,
That's wonderful. I don't know how you catch the fog on some of these things like that. It's great.
Me neither. Well, it's what's the line that Ansel used? It seems like that God's got the scene set up for me just as I press the shutter. Sometimes it goes like that, Steve Olaf, who, of course, everybody in the Mendocino Coast knows. He what is his book called? A Dog's Guide to. Anyway.
For the coastally curious.
Right, the coastally curious. He talked to me in the early days when I first came up here, and he told me that the last shot of Point Arena from the bluffs was possibly in the 20s and 30s. So I did some research, and I talked to Ariana Mazzucci owns Kazari Ranch up there, and she was kind enough to give me permission to shoot from her property. And I went up there on a couple of occasions, and one time I got incredibly entangled in the undergrowth above Point Arena Creek. It is it's horrible up there. I mean, you got things around your ankles, but I ended up at this position right above Highway 1, and I liked it because I kind of got a not straight down the street, but a kind of an angle. I liked the diagonal, and the sky came as a bonus that day.
Great.
So anyway, the city of Point Arena actually commissioned me to make a 2x3 of this particular photo, and it now hangs behind the dais in the city council chambers.
Ah, great. Okay, Emma, maybe you can talk about this new piece of ceramic that you've been working on.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Emma. This new, I just for fun like to dabble in all kinds of different decorating techniques. I'm kind of a beginner with my pottery. 5 to 6 years, but it seems like I only have time and space to do it seasonally during summer. And this, and then this bowl that I have over here is a technique where, right over here, I could stand over here, is a technique where I half throw the piece, and then I paint sodium silicate, this mineral on there, and then I actually blowtorch it and dry it out a little bit, and then I throw from the inside out and open up the shape, and then it will make these crackles. And then you can fill them in with oxides or underglazes, or I experimented with a few with painting slip with colorant on the pot before I opened it up, and then it'll crack and the outside will actually be colored. But it's been fun to play with new.
So when you fire it, I mean, use the blowtorch, but then you put it in a kiln afterward?
Then I put it in the kiln, do my first firing, the bisque square firing, and then go ahead and decide what I want to glaze. This one I wanted to see what it looked like just left unglazed. And then glaze, the rest of the pot. And go through the normal ceramic process after that first technique. Again, I also have my ocean art apparel, and I try to come up with a new design about maybe once a year or maybe 2 a year. And the very latest kind of new design for me is the Humboldt squid. And I have a men's, a woman's, and a unisex hoodie down at the gallery this month with my new squid image.
Oh yeah, nice. How about one of those bright white outline one that'll show better on this photo?
White outline.
Well, you had those white fish on a black T-shirt.
Kind of oldest go-to designs is my Real Natives of California. It's our most common salmonids that we have in the Garcia River and a lot of the other rivers in Mendocino County. The Galala, we only have the steelhead, and so this is the steelhead. This is supposed to be a king or Chinook salmon, and this is a coho or silver salmon.
Okay, nice.